Surah Al-Fatiha, Al-Kitab, Al-Quran, also known as Al-Quran Al-Azim. Another one of the names given to Surah Al-Fatiha in the Holy Quran itself is Al-Quran Al-Azim. The magnificent Quran refers to Surah Al-Fatiha, and it is mentioned by those who are giants in the commentary of the Holy Quran that there was nothing, not in the Torah, not in the Injil or the scriptures of the past that were divine, that were sent down from the heavens, that was similar to Surah Al-Fatiha revealed in any one of them. So nonetheless, we spoke yesterday about, clocks back. Is that the same one or a new one? Oh, mashallah. So we spoke yesterday about Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Rabb, the one who nurtures. Al-Alameen, everything that's in the universes. The universes and everything that they contain are being nurtured by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. Now, the scholars of tafsir, you're going to hear this word over and over again during, inshallah, these khataras in the month of Ramadan. Tafsir, the commentary or the exegesis of the Holy Quran. So the scholars of tafsir mention that in it there is an allusion, there is an implication to the tarheeb from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tarheeb is intimidation, to kind of scare someone, to kind of let them know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the boss. Allah tells you, not only you, little one, not only this humankind, but every single creature, every single living being, everything that exists in the universes and all the universes, Allah is the one who is the boss. So in it there's an intimidation. Know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the boss, is watching everything that we do, is in complete control of everything that we do, and is going to take us into account for everything that we do and say, etc. Like the khata that we heard right after the Maghrib Salah. Every single one of our actions is going to be taken into account. They're questionable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is Rabbul Alameen. So this is tarheeb. Tarheeb, to kind of scare someone. This is also a means of inspiring some people to sometimes leave off or to give, to do away with, to disown, to abandon evil practices. For some people, tarheeb actually works. Now, unfortunately, in this day and age, many people don't use this style anymore. It's very compassionate, it's very loving, it's very, don't worry, everything's going to be fine, you've got nothing to worry. Yeah, that's good, that's wonderful and excellent, but sometimes we need a little bit of tarheeb as well. Those are what the OGs of this masjid, we know what tarheeb was like in the past as well. But anyway, so tarheeb, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you, Rabbul Alameen is Allah. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala switches. In the very next verse of Surah Al-Fatiha, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. But He is also Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. This is now Targheeb. This is compassionate. This is merciful. These two words, for the record, are, by the way, derived from the very same root word. They are mushtaq from the same root word, Rahmah. Every one of us knows Rahmah. And Rahmah the concept of Rahmah in our tradition is something very, very big. So those, by the way, who said that Surah Al-Fatiha also included Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim at the very beginning as part of the surah, those who said otherwise, Bismillah is not part of Surah Al-Fatiha. One of the proofs that they have, by the way, this is a little academic, but some of you will appreciate it. They said, what was the need to bring Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim again in the middle of the surah if Bismillahir Rahman Ar-Rahim was mentioned at the very beginning of the surah? But nonetheless, so Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Some said, the commentators of the Holy Quran, this word Ar-Rahman, which is also from Rahmah. Rahmah, mercy. We know Ar-Rahimun Yarhamuhum Ar-Rahman. Those who show mercy, Allah Ar-Rahman will have mercy upon them. Irhamu man fil ard, irhamkum man fis sama. Have mercy to those on the earth and the one in the heavens, i.e. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have mercy upon us. So some said that this word Rahman is actually not Arabic. This is actually a Hebrew word, ironically. It's a Hebrew word, and the word Rahim is an Arabic word. 1. 2, some said Rahman is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is being merciful to every single human being. That is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy, Ar-Rahman. And the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the believers alone, exclusively, is Rahim. So Rahman for every single human being, the believer, the disbeliever alike. And then Rahim exclusively for the believers is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy, Rahim. 3. Some said Ar-Rahman is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this world and in the next. And Ar-Rahim is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the life hereafter alone. 3. Number 4, some said Ar-Rahman is one mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, and Ar-Rahim is the rest of the mercies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In reference to the hadith of Sahih Muslim, in which the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is reported to have said, Inna lillahi mi'ata rahma. Allah has 100 portions. Sound, authentic hadith. Allah has 100 portions of mercy. أنزل منها رحمة واحدة بين الجن والإنس والبهائم والهوام. So Allah allowed one of these 100 mercies to ascend, or to descend, to Allah has shared, Allah has distributed this one mercy with every single living being. Whether it's an animal, whether it's a beast, whether it's a mother, whether it's whoever it may be, all the love and all of the care and all the affection that we see is as a result of that one mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 99, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is kept for the day of judgment alone. The day of judgment is real and it's a very big deal. 99 of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's 100 mercies, Allah has delayed, Allah has kept for the day of judgment alone. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for us. And then the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, لَوْ يَعْلَمُ الْمُؤْمِنُ مَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ مِنَ الْعُقُوبَةِ. If the believer knew what punishment Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has in store, what punishment Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is capable of giving, they would never become too hopeful. And on the contrary, if the disbeliever knew, وَلَوْ يَعْلَمُ الْكَافِرُ مَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ, if the disbeliever knew what mercy Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala displays and gives, they would never lose hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In reference to the verse of the Holy Quran, this, according to the commentators, by the way, is that verse of the Holy Quran which has the most mercy in it. It's a very special verse in Surah Al-Zumar, and the 23rd, or the beginning of the 24th chapter, the beginning of the 24th, or the end of the chapter Az-Zumar, and the 24th part of the Holy Quran. قُلْ يَا عِبَادِيَ الَّذِينَ أَسْرَفُوا عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ لَا تَقْنَطُوا مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ. O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, tell those of my slaves who have wronged themselves not to lose mercy, not to lose hope in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ جَمِيعًا إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives all sins, of course, apart from those who associate or ascribe any partners unto Him. And indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is oft forgiving and most merciful. This is that verse in the Holy Quran which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows us the most mercy. Like we can have most hope from this verse of the Holy Quran, and then contrary to this, again, is that verse which we should be most, it's very intimidating, it's very frightening, it's very scary, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, according to one of the companions, it was this verse in Surah Al-Naba, the 30th juz of the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَذُوقُوا فَلَن نَزِيدَكُمْ إِلَّا عَذَابًا. Yadhuq means to taste. So go on tasting this punishment, because we've got nothing else for you to taste but punishment. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us, inshallah. We'll continue tomorrow.